Hi, hello, welcome to Spell Day. We're covering a spell every single day of the year from the 5e PHP plus 3. Those plus 3 spells are homebrew spells. We're at plus 2 at the moment. You can head back in playlist to find them. And today's spell is Telekinesis. Fifth level transmutation, casting temp of 1 action, range of 60 feet, components verbal somatic, duration concentration up to 10 minutes. You gain the ability to move or manipulate creatures or objects by thought when you cast the spell, and as your action each round for the duration, you can exert your will on one creature or object that you can see within range, causing the appropriate effect below. You can affect the same target round after round or choose a new one at any time. If you switch targets, the prior target is no longer affected by the spell. Creature, you can try to move a huge or smaller creature, make an ability check with your spellcasting ability contested by the creature's strength check. If you win the contest, you move the creature up to 30 feet in any direction, including upward, but not beyond the range of the spell. Until the end of your next turn, the creature is restrained in your telekinetic grip. A creature lifted upward is suspended in mid-air. On subsequent rounds, you can use your action to attempt to maintain your telekinetic grip on the creature by repeating the contest. Object, you can try to move an object that weighs up to 1,000 pounds. If the object isn't being worn or carried, you can automatically move it up to 30 feet in any direction, but not beyond the range of the spell. If the object is worn or carried by a creature, you must make an ability check with your spellcasting ability contested by that creature's strength check. If you succeed, you pull the object away from that creature and can move it up to 30 feet in any direction, but not beyond the range of the spell. You can exert fine control on objects with your telekinetic grip, such as manipulating a simple tool, opening a door or a container, stowing or retrieving an item from an open container, or pouring the contents from a vial. I mean, it's telekinesis. It fits the theme. As in the name, the spell effects fit the name. Even down to the fine control, which is a bit neat, but I'm trying to think of exact situations. I mean, yes, when you're trapped, being able to then use your mind to move things around. Debatably, Mage Hand can be used for just moving small things, but I mean, this is for big things, right? A massive creature, a particular creature you need to get a hold of, or objects. Because cranes. Yes, it's a 5th level spell, and I argue that Levitate could probably be a better use at some kind of, like, magical crane. Not to mention you can only move it up to 60 feet. But still, 60 feet when moving like a hunk of 1,000 pounds of stone up is not bad. The amount of stone you'd be able to move up onto buildings, or into places, because you can be super delicate. Well, I guess that's used for it, if it's in architecture, which is probably the main thing I'm going to be discussing with this, world-building-wise at least. So before that, I guess player-wise, or enemy-wise, it's to throw people around. Though not really throw, it's not a big like force push, it's holding them in midair. Best use is probably tossing them off of cliffs, or into magma or water, you know, off a ship. And at the very least, you're like keeping them there. Specifically as well with their strain condition, which isn't bad. But I'd say this is better utility-wise, namely because it just takes an action each turn, concentration, and 5th level for a single target effect on a battlefield. Now it can be up to huge creatures. That part's not bad. You can move giants around with this. Also, depending on how the ruling works, you can move around the weight limit, because the weight limit is only listed under object, not creature. So that you can just kind of toss around, move, and that's weird on how that works. Like, because then you'd argue, like, well, if someone's just holding onto that stone or is tied to that stone, and you can move the creature without any restraint. I don't know. Outside those questions, battlefield-wise, not the best, because it suffers from the same issue of Witch Bolt, as in, to actually have the effect going, you need to use an action every round. The spell won't end at least, but to have it on that target, you have to do it every round. And even then, it's only up to 30 feet, which could be good or bad. The restrained condition, though, is pretty nice, so it's restraining and then also moving. Either moving them out of cover, out of buff area, away from allies and into enemies. You can use it to some nice effect. There's also an argument on whether you can, like, especially because of the fine control thing, you can move them and turn them around. Like, can you theoretically also make them prone? Arguable. But no, the best case I could see is construction. "10 minutes where you can finally move things up to 1,000 pounds and with precision. Having multiple people with this going, or even at least one being able to move steel beams with their mind, but not literally just steel beams, but heavy construction equipment. places in construction where normally you'd have to build massive scaffolding and elaborate systems to be able to move and levy different things across into towers, support beams, bits of roof, and just straight, this allows for really weird and elaborate construction. Just because magic. And not in the sense of like magic formed it randomly, though we'll potentially touch on some spells like that. Not in this series, but you know. But the idea that using this as a utility to then move things, or in the process of construction on something. That then gets into architecture and just what can be done that way, but it aids in construction, aids in lifting things. It's a mental crane. When it comes to against an enemy, it's a mental net that you can then drag them with. That's the big argument. If you didn't move them as well, it's a net with a contested check. But at least it's not that. You can move them as well. But again, over ledges, you could move them 60 feet in the air and then drop them. 5 out of 10. World building wise has some potential and like just moving heavy objects around because that's a difficult thing otherwise. But even combat wise, like it's cool. Actual practicality over just another concentration spell or effect or range, namely because it's just single target. Yes, even though you can affect huge creatures. There's other spells that either do things similar or better or can affect more targets in different ways. So situational, in short. 5 out of 10.